Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today we have some major news about the future of physical media. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back to the channel. Today we have some really great news about the future of physical media. It's been kind of a shaky last few months. There's been a lot of signs indicating that physical media is definitely on the down and out. But today we got some really encouraging news courtesy of Universal and Warner Brothers, which I want to talk to you about. Now, before we get started, you got to do two things for me. Please subscribe to the channel and please like this video and share it so that others will see this news and share it with their audience. And then we will promote physical media in the community even larger. So please do that, do your part, share these videos so that others can see that there's still a big community of us out here. And definitely subscribe to the channel if you're interested at all in Blu-ray, 4K, home theater content. This is the right channel for you. And hello to all the new subscribers out there. Now, with that being said, let's jump right into this news. So today, what happened was that Universal and Warner Brothers announced a new joint venture as it relates to home entertainment specifically. Now, this isn't going to start until Q1 2021. So we've still got to get through the rest of 2020 before this happens. But they entered into a 10-year deal together that runs through 2031. And what the deal does is that it combines Warner Brothers and Universal's production teams, their sales teams, their retail operations, their distribution operations. It combines them all together in this joint venture as it relates to Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, and also digital releases. But the big news here is that it's going to allow both Warner Brothers and Universal to more easily manufacture discs by working together. It's going to lower the cost of making these discs. It's going to lower the marketing costs. It's going to lower the operational costs. All the costs should go down, which is going to help physical media continue to survive throughout the next decade. Clearly, they've made this commitment with a 10-year deal, and they are committed to DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, and digital standalone releases over things like streaming for the next 10 years at least. Now, why is this hugely important to collectors, in my opinion? I think it's because, if you look at the cost of Universal and Warner Brothers discs right now, Warner Brothers are actually some of the most notoriously expensive 4K discs out there. Stuff like The Shining and 2001: A Space Odyssey and Gremlins, and they've released a lot of catalog titles, but they're expensive. They come out at $30, even for older re-releases, remasters, and that's kind of crazy money for upgrades. And so hopefully as collectors, what we're going to see here is by combining Universal's and Warner Brothers teams together, those costs will go down. We'll start to see more reasonable 4K and Blu-ray costs than what we were seeing from Warner Brothers and Universal, which was almost more like a boutique Blu-ray cost. We were charging $28, $29, $30 for new releases. Now, for smaller companies like Scream Factory or Arrow or, Vinegar Syndrome or Synapse or any of those, that makes sense to charge that much. They've got to make their money back. But now Universal and Warner Brothers can finally lower their costs and get the costs and marketing costs associated with manufacturing these discs down to a manageable level so that we can continue to get good prices on them and continue to see movies come out on Blu-ray, on 4K, because the costs won't be so significant as they were when they were working alone. Now, in terms of how this is going to affect the whole industry, I think that you'll probably see more of this stuff coming down the line. I mean, we already have Fox and Disney combined, right? So those two are now sharing marketing costs and distribution costs and production costs for any of their Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD discs. Now we've got Universal and Warner Brothers teaming up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lionsgate either maybe get bought out by one of these guys or join in as a third party into this agreement. And so they kind of all work together under this kind of home media, physical media collective to keep the costs down but keep the industry going. It clearly shows that at least Universal and Warner Brothers think that it's important to have physical media and they're committed to it. the market, people always talk about physical media is dying, it's going down in sales, and it is dropping in sales every year as people move to streaming and more digital. But the market was still a $3 billion market in the US last year. That's how much was sold in Blu-ray and 4K discs. That's not an insignificant number when you consider it's just the disc. All they need to do is manufacture a disc and make a case and do a nice transfer and put it out there. The transfer should come from the original digital intermediate that was delivered to theaters, and now we got teams that work on moving that over to the disc for both Universal and Warner Brothers working together. That splits the costs. These things should be able to keep being easy to make and cost effective for these companies into the next decade because of a deal like this. So that's really important. One thing that is really interesting is if you look at the physical media market as a whole, DVD still dominates. I just got in the latest numbers. This comes from the Digital Entertainment Group, I think is their name, but they put these numbers out there on the internet and show sales results. And this is what I was talking about a little bit in my last video. You can see the last video I showed Black Friday numbers, so Blu-ray was up. Now you can see in the first week of January, this is where we have our latest numbers for. You've got DVD at almost 70%, Blu-ray at about 28%, and 4K taking the rest. And that's about how it's been. But the fact that DVD is still selling so much is actually a good thing. And I know that there's a lot of, Blu-ray and 4K snobs like myself out there. But if DVD is selling, then they still have a reason to at least make DVDs. And if you're going to make DVDs, how much harder is it to take that and put it onto a Blu-ray disc and then from there to a 4K? You might as well do it, especially now that costs are being split and the cost of manufacturing these discs should go down. Everything should go down: marketing costs, retail costs, distribution costs. It should all drop. And so they're going to keep making DVDs because they dominate the market. Blu-rays still take up a significant chunk, and it's only a small step forward for many titles to then get onto 4K, especially if they are true 4K movies. And so those should still be coming down the line in the next 10 years. It's really a nice little lifeline we have here now, physical media. We have almost a guarantee that at least from these two studios, the next 10 years, we're going to be getting physical discs. Now, if you're international, this actually has some interesting implications as well, because Universal and Warner Brothers have decided to start splitting distribution into different countries. So Universal is now handling the home entertainment distribution for Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Japan. So they're going to take any Warner Brothers titles in those 4 countries. If you're from there, you're going to start to see Universal actually handling the home entertainment distribution. And then if you're in either the UK, which I know a lot of my viewers are, Italy, or Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, the Benelux countries, Warner Brothers is actually going to be taking over the Universal titles in those countries. And so they're going to flip-flop and do some crazy stuff internationally. And so that's going to be very interesting if you are outside the US. You're going to start to see stuff changing on your Blu-ray and DVD in your stores online. You're going to start to see some different distribution models. You may not even notice it, but you may at times have like a Warner Brothers sticker on a Universal movie. There could be some weird things going on, so that's just something interesting to note. The other cool thing here is the potential for Warner Archive. If you know physical media and Blu-ray, you know that Warner Archive is a pretty big kind of indie label. It's not really indie because Warner Brothers owns it, but they put out lesser known Warner Brothers catalog titles. Obviously, Warner has a ton of older movies, and they sometimes do like manufactured on demand Blu-ray discs. Sometimes they do brand new transfers. They've done some of the old Batman animated movies. They've done some old TV movies. So they do some really cool work. And if Universal and Warner Brothers are going to work together, maybe there's the potential for Warner Archive to dive into the Universal backlog and take some of their catalog titles, which they also have a ton of, and start doing some HD transfers of those to Blu-ray, or at least bringing movies that maybe never saw past VHS to DVD or Blu-ray, even if the remaster isn't great getting these copies on modern formats gets it into more people's hands and makes sure that those movies don't die out with the format. So overall, I think this is great news for all of us collectors out there, for multiple reasons. As I stated, we clearly have a commitment for the next 10 years from two of the largest studios to continue working on home entertainment and physical media. We're also hopefully going to see a decrease in cost, just based on teamwork and them working together. It's going to drop their costs, which is going to allow them to drop their price and make Blu-ray and 4K a little bit more manageable for most people out there. And it also has that impact internationally. And then we could also see some interesting stuff happening with Warner Brothers and Universal. Warner Brothers has really done more. I know this year Universal's working on Jaws, and there's some other stuff that's coming out. So having those two together, Universal's done great transfers, Warner Brothers has done great transfers. Combining their two teams together, I think, should only result in better 4K discs, better Blu-ray, and more availability on the market. So I think overall it's a very good thing, and it's definitely the kind of shot in the arm that I think physical media needed here in this decade to keep being relevant and keep people excited about these new formats. So thanks for watching. This was just a quick little news update, but I thought it was really important, especially with all that we talk about on the channel. There wasn't much news that came out of CES as it relates to Blu-ray or 4K. There weren't even really any 4K players there. There really wasn't much from Hollywood at all as it relates to movies and home entertainment. And so this news was really refreshing, because if you came out of CES and watched any of that coverage, it sure looks like physical was dead. But Warner Brothers and Universal coming out with this announcement today really helps kind of jolt the energy in the industry, should give it some new life, and hopefully help all of us, help our wallets, help us get more movies in our collection, and hopefully get more great HD and 4K transfers of movies that may otherwise have never made it because of the cost of manufacturing or the cost of doing a new transfer. We could get some really cool stuff out of this, so I'm very excited about it. So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more updates like this, more 4K Blu-ray reviews, collection updates, and home theater reviews. Definitely check out all the links down in my description to Amazon, where you can purchase things from my home theater. Lots of people ask about shelving, seating, speakers, receivers, TVs, projectors. That's all down there. If you're interested, go check them out. It helps support the channel. And also check out the link down in the description I'm going to leave to the article, which kind of, it's basically like the press release article that covers this news announcement. If you are interested in reading a little bit more about how it's all going to work, I'll leave that link down there as well, so you can check it out for yourself. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll be back soon with some exciting 4K reviews that I just got in, so stay tuned for those, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.